It is no news that the London system is an opening everyone loves to hate. But guess what? Everything you have been told about the London system in chess is a big, fat lie. From this,
the London opening is complete garbage, and why none of you should ever play it again.
To this,
I play the London, okay? Oh, you play the London!
And even this. The opinions about the London system are not just small fibs, but fundamentally flawed. The truth is, many of these experts' advices about the London system are fueled by misconceptions, outdated chess laws, myths about chess openings, and blatant cognitive biases. From the notion that the London system is only suitable for casual players because it is too simple, to the fact that playing d4 and bishop f4 automatically leads to a dull and drawish position, the truth is we have been fed false assumptions that shape our decisions when selecting openings, influence our style of playing chess, and distort our perception about this beautiful game called chess. It is time to shatter these illusions and uncover the truths that lie beneath. I think the most comfortable point to start this conversation is to state that the London system was not always an underrated opening. It was first introduced in the 19th century, an era filled with tactical and aggressive plays. The only way to counter these aggressive players during that era was to find a solid positional opening, and that was what gave birth to the London system. Players like Henry Baird and Joseph Blackburn popularized the opening, using it to achieve impressive results, which made the London system a reliable opening. During the early 20th century, it even became more popular and also gained widespread acceptance. Players like Savelli Tatarkova and Ernst Grunfeld employed the London system to great success, demonstrating its versatility and strength. The opening became a staple in many players' repertoire, particularly among those who favored positional play. After the London system got to this height, the reputation of the London system hit a very huge dip when some players seeking to simplify their game began using the London system as a lazy opening, rather than how it was used by its founding fathers. They would play the opening mechanically without deep understanding or strategic planning. As a result, the London system became associated with a lack of sophistication and a reliance on memorization rather than critical thinking. As chess theory evolved, new openings gained popularity and the London system began to fall out of favor. Some top players, seeking to exploit its perceived weaknesses, developed aggressive countermeasures. The opening's reputation started to suffer, with many labeling it as dull and unambitious. But not anymore. With modern computer analysis and a deep understanding of positional play, the strength of the opening has been rediscovered, and even Magnus Carlsen attested to this. Unfortunately, even with this new development, the reputation of it being a lazy system and an opening for just beginner is still clear in the air. I am going to challenge these preconceptions with a collection of games that showcase the London system's hidden depth. Prepare to witness complex strategic battles, clever tactical maneuvers, and instructive endgames, all arising from the London system. As we delve into these games, I'm confident that even the most skeptical players will come to appreciate the London system's versatility, flexibility, and sheer strength. Enough of all this talking, let us move straight to the chessboard. I also think it is important to state that I am not about to sell you any London course after this video. The reason I'm making this is just to show you the beauty and the depth of the London system. So the next time you see anyone abusing the London system, hold them by their throat by playing d4 and bishop f4. The game in question is between Magnus Carlsen and Yangyi, a top Chinese grandmaster. In this game, Magnus sets the record straight and dominates from start to finish with the London system. He applies pressure at moments on various sides of the board and just makes decisions that gives him permanent long-term advantages. Magnus Carlsen opens the game with d4. We get knight f6, then we get normal London system lines of bishop f4, d5, e3, e6, knight f6, a6, and then we get bishop to d3. Nothing much can be said here. We're in London already. The pyramid has been built and the bishop has a home. Black and white have both developed their pieces and they are both controlling and contesting the center, setting the stage for their plans later in the game. The game continues with c5. With this move, Yangyi nibbles at the center from the side and Magnus solidifies with c3. The first major tension on the board occurs when black plays bishop to d6, contesting the diagonal with Magnus Carlsen's bishop. As we all know, it is a rule of thumb to retreat the bishop, so if we get the exchange of bishop, white will take back with the h2 pawn, which will open the h file, and that will be dangerous for black, especially if they want to castle kingside. Black is aware of all these shenanigans, so he plays knight to c6, and then we get knight to d2 and castles. As you can see, Magnus is playing the London system just like any other player at any level will play it. This is just to show you that there is nothing wrong with this opening. We get knight to e5. This move is not straight from the London system. The London system revolves around winning the battle of the e4 and e5 squares, as this would give white attacking chances in the future. We get knight to e7 on the board and Magnus castles. Magnus then plays h4. We get knight f5, bishop g5, h6, and then bishop f4. If you divide the board into two, you can see all the major events are happening on the king side. Let me also state that h6 by black is a little weak because you are playing against Magnus Carlsen. All it needs to sneak into your position is a small crack in your defense. We get bishop b7, then h3, then bishop e7, and then a4. The a4 move is a very important one in the London system. This move ensures the queen side is locked. You want the other side of the board to be completely locked so you can focus on the half where all the attack will happen. Knight to d6 is the next move, and Magnus immediately responds with f3 to control the e4 square. We get a lot of waiting moves. No one willing to take the initiative, so Magnus plunges forward the move g4, kicking off same side king attack, a very technical attack in chess. Magnus Carlsen then brings the queen behind the pawns and also pushes the f pawn as cover. The rook comes into the attack as well. Black resolves the tension in the center by taking on d4, and Magnus Carlsen responds, capturing with the e-pawn. This is very important as it freezes the other side of the board. If the exchange was the other way around, the file will be open, which could be very, very dangerous. After solving that hurdle, he switches to the other side of the board, pushes the g-pawn forward again. Time to open up the king, my friend. We get an exchange of pawns. As you can see, the pawn is attacked twice by the bishop and the queen, but it is actually untouchable because if the bishop proceeds to take it, we will get knight takes on d7. The queen will have to recapture, leaving the bishop undefended, and the queen would have it captured. The two knights are subbed off the board. We get knight to c6, and it is met to knight f3. The bishop is captured, and Magnus recaptures with the rook. The rook is attacked, and Magnus drops it back. A few more moves is played, and we get into this position. Although it is not obvious, Magnus Carlsen is actually planning his second wave of attack on the black king. Sensing the imminent attack, we get rook h8 from Ying to hold the position and to control the h-file, to stop any pawn advancement. Seeing that there will be no progress on the h-file, Magnus Carlsen reaches into his arsenal and plays a move that separates grandmasters from super grandmasters. Can you guess? Well, don't bother, I have no time to wait. The move is rook takes on e6, sacking the rook to bring the queen into a very dangerous position. You can smell blood already. The queen in this position is a very deadly piece. It can see the pawn in front of the king on e5, and if the queen is allowed to capture the pawn, the game would end as quickly as possible. So the black queen has to protect the pawn, but in doing that, the bishop becomes undefended, so Magnus Carlsen bags the bishop. The pawn is hanging, so black plays rook to c6 to defend it and to also attack the queen. Magnus forces a queen trade with a check and steps in with the knight. Before I forget to add, this is the endgame already, which of course is Magnus Carlsen's favorite part of the game. This is like Superman taking you to the sun to have a fight with him. Well, I do not know the reason behind this move, but Yangyi takes on h4. Magnus responds with rook f7 check. The king moves, then we get rook a7. The bishop is hanging, the rook is hanging as well. Everything is falling apart. We get bishop c6. Magnus Carlsen checks the king with bishop f7, and then another check flies in from the knight from g6 with precision. If you have been paying attention to your chess lessons, you would see that this check is also a fork of the king and the rook, which made Yangyi resign. This is the result you get when you play the London system well. Let me also state that this game is just the tip of the iceberg in what the London system can do. The next game I'm going to analyze is between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. This game will literally have you go down on your knees to seek for forgiveness for ever jiving the London system. If the London system were a religion, I would definitely be the prophet preaching the gospel of the opening. And this game I'm about to show you is going to be the scripture everyone would need to study to become a believer of the London system. This game does not only confirm the London system to be a great opening, it also shows you can use the opening as an aggressive an offensive opening when you use it effectively. The variation Magnus Carlsen plays in this game is the London system. In this position, Magnus Carlsen takes us to another territory with g4. Fabi challenges the center with c5, and Magnus Carlsen immediately plays g5, kicking the knight away. Magnus follows up by developing his knight. We get knight to c6 by Fabi, and Magnus Carlsen responds with a3. The move a3 is to control the b4 square, so we don't have any piece coming there. We get b5, and Magnus Carlsen responds with h4. This is followed by bishop to b7 and then h5. This is abnormal chess. Magnus Carlsen is definitely telling Fabi, you dare not castle on that side or else trouble will ensue as quickly as possible. We get knights to b6 and then an exchange in the center. Remember I said in my last game that in the London system, it is very important for you to control the e4 and the e5 square. The same applies here, and as you can see, Magnus Carlsen is following the rule religiously. Fabi jumps in with the knight, and Magnus Carlsen chops it off the board with his bishop. Fabi restores material by picking up the bishop with the pawn, setting a discovered attack on the rook on h1. Trust Magnus Carlsen to see this move, so he plays rook to g1. Fabi kicks out the bishop with f6, then we get queen to d7. Magnus Carlsen plunges forward with h6, keeping the tension on the board. Fabi castles and Magnus Carlsen plays queen to e2, clearing the back rank for a potential castle. Fabi takes on d4 with his pawn and Magnus recaptures, but loses his pawn on queen takes on d2. In response to this, Magnus Carlsen brings his rook to d1. If you take a closer look, you will notice that the bishop on e4 is hanging. But is it really? No. Fabi missed a key detail in his calculation. He probably did not know that Magnus Carlsen left the bishop for him to capture, because after the queen captures with check on a6, the king cannot move to b8 because that would drop the rook. This would force the king to c7 in order to protect the rook. Magnus Carlsen would then step in with a check with his queen. The king would have to be forced back to c8 to protect the rook, and after the exchange, the bishop will be captured. This was all Magnus Carlsen calculated, the reason he left the bishop unprotected. But Fabi had other plans which ultimately cost him the game. So in this position, after Magnus Carlsen checks the king with his queen, rather than moving the king out of the check, Fabiano blocks with the bishop, thinking that would hold the position together. He probably thought after the queen takes the bishop, he can probably pin the queen to the king on the e-file. The issue with that is capturing with the bishop comes with a check. He had to address that, and Magnus Carlsen fires with pawn takes on g7. The game is over now, because if Fabi plays rook to e8 to pin the king, the game would end with rook takes rook, and the whole tension will be de-escalated with further trees, and Magnus Carlsen will simply make a new queen, which will allow him to obliterate Fabiano Caruana. With these two games I have shown you, I hope I have been able to convince and not confuse you that the London system is an opening that is here to stay forever. You know another thing that is here to stay? My YouTube channel. So please kindly share, like and subscribe to my channel, because I have more great content for you, great analysis, and we would all learn chess together. If you love my analysis in this video, I am 100% sure you'll also love this analysis on this video recommended on your screen. Please and please do not miss out on it. Bye. See you next time. Till next time. Bye.